Want to get the best deal on any disc golf disc? Use my link in the description below. It'll get you 10% off on any brand at discgolfdealsusa.com. A user by the name of Nate Squaggles 9332 commented on my last video, and he said, "Dude, stop looking forward when you throw. Literally, if you need to look at something, just focus on your feet or something." And you know what, Nate Squaggles 9332? I think you might be right. And I think you might be right for a few different reasons. We're getting a lot of really good things going with the backhand form, but one mistake that I've always historically made, that I'm still currently making, is I'm not allowing myself to get the full coil because I have this tendency to try and look where my shot is going. Now, I'm actually legally blind in my right eye, and that makes it super hard for me to trust my line without trying to take a peek with my left eye. Now, this is something that's not really impacted me in sports throughout my entire life. But with disc golf, I think because my right eye doesn't see properly, it makes my body really want to get this head forward looking with the left eye position. And it's causing a few different mechanical issues to happen with the throw. Now, there's people with perfectly normal vision who do the same thing when they throw. And what happens is they wind up in this position with the head leading the throw. And this is a bad position to be in. Now, there's also one thing that I was thinking about that I think is really critical that the look forward messes up. And it's this rear shoulder. I think if you're collapsing in your pocket, you wind up where the disc is behind your body. It can also cause that as well. Because if I'm getting into a full coil here, I'm like this and I'm getting ready to throw, and I'm here, this shoulder is really far back. But if I'm looking forward, it pulls the whole throw forward, and it's gonna really encourage this collapse position. This is something that Blitz Disc Golf, Tyler Wozniak, and a bunch of other people have taught me, and I haven't quite mastered it yet, is getting the elbow out in front of the throw. And if you're putting yourself in this head forward, looking towards your line position, it's also gonna bring this left shoulder forward. You're just aiding in the collapsing of your power pocket. You really want this position to happen. And if you're looking forward towards your line, all of a sudden this shoulder gets pulled and a lot of people wind up being just like this. So I've thrown a bunch of shots without looking forward, at least I think. I wanna show you guys what it looks like. And I actually think Nate Squaggles 9332 was onto something really valuable for me. I've got a couple discs, a couple drivers here. Let's just throw a few shots and see what happens. I'm gonna do my best to just not look forward and trust the line, trust the form, and trust the work I've been putting in, and not even worry about. You shouldn't think about where the disc is going until you're completely done with the throw. Trust your form, trust your line, and just throw your shot. One other thing that I think is really beneficial with this technique in regards to this off shoulder, if you're leaning with the head, the shoulder's forward, and you try to drive the off arm, again, you're putting the shoulder even further into a position where you're going to collapse your power pocket. But if now I'm here and I drive the off arm down, this off arm is behind me enough to a point where it's gonna make it a lot easier to slow this arm down because it's not getting driven into a power pocket collapsing position. At least that's the way I've been thinking about it. And I really wanted to come try this out for particularly that reason, because I just don't feel good about this left shoulder. So yeah, that's kind of the thought process of what we're working on here today. And I've thrown some pretty nice shots out here so far today. It's definitely something that needs getting used to, but I haven't thrown any crazy grip locks, any crazy early releases. And if anything, I feel like I'm throwing the disc slightly more straight. There we go. That was it. That's huge. That's a monster shot. Go. Oh, getting a good flight on that trail. And like I said before, I'm getting everything to fly like pretty darn straight. Let's try a nice hyzer flip kind of thing here. If that comes out, it's absolutely gigantic. Wow, that's a big rip on the relativity. Skip. Nice. Good line. So the final thing that I want to say about why I think this is a really good thing to think about and a really good thing to practice potentially is it's not only going to have an impact on your swing plane, your reach back, off arm, like collapse pocket. It's going to help with all that stuff. I also think if your entire body is rotated more in this direction, you're also going to have a little bit more internal rotation at the hip. And if we start the throw internally rotated, that's going to put you in a position to externally rotate. So if your hip is open, so like this, you've got nowhere to go with your hips. You're kind of stuck there. The throw is kind of over from a leg standpoint. At least that's how I understand it. So if we're here and this guy is internally rotated, I feel this tension here. I've got room for this guy to go boom, and it kind of put a lot more power and steam, not only with the upper body, but also with the hips. So I feel like overall, like full body, at least from a power generation standpoint, this has to be beneficial. Mr. Squaggles was onto something. Some people would see that and I feel like just get offended, but I consider it tough love. I think that was sometimes in life, you want to hear things and you need to hear things. And I think that's something I needed to hear. And I appreciate the tone at which he said it because it did resonate with me. So I do really appreciate the reminder. And I feel like we're actually making leaps and bounds today in many different ways. I'm actually going to start a little more sideways. I mean, that's pretty big. Another disc I've been really messing with is this recoil. I feel like I don't even know if anybody's ever even heard of the recoil, but we got the prototype, that's for sure. And it flies pretty nice. See, that's boomed. That is absolutely smoked. And I also feel like I'm having no issues throwing them straight, especially on the hyzer flip. Maybe throwing the Annie's a little bit of a different story. I'll have to work on that, but for now, feels pretty darn accurate and pretty darn powerful. I think I did it. That's huge. Hit the bench. Oh, right in front of the bench. All right, last throw of the day, the Gold Line River. Super hyzer flip. This has been my favorite disc for at least the last month. Oh yeah. Oh, that was a sick flight. That was so sick. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you want to save 10% at Disc Golf Deals USA, you must click the link in the description of this video. It'll get you 10% off all brands. Stay humble, live with gratitude. I will catch you in the next one, and take care.